something that crosses your mind, but you don't say it out loud because if you did, people would think you're crazy.
When I'm driving the school bus and people run my red stop sign, which in every state is illegal to do so, I always have the thought in the back of my mind to throw a dummy out the window and make it hit the windshield of that driver and it splatters fake blood, just so it gets across in their mind that they shouldn't be running a red stop sign. Yeah.
Name something that crosses your mind, but you don't say it out loud because if you did, people would think you're crazy.
You know how they say if you die in your home and you have cats, they'll start to eat you? Yeah, I kind of hope they do if that does happen to me because, well, first of all, I'm dead. Who gives a shit? And second of all, I've cuddled them against their will enough times that I think they've earned it.
Name something that crosses your mind, but you don't say it out loud because if you did, people would think you're crazy.
If my cat dies under any circumstance other than old age, hide the NyQuil.
Name something that crosses your mind, but you don't say it out loud because if you did, people would think you're crazy.
Every single person, I'm talking everybody after the age of 10, should learn how to fight with a sword. Everybody should be required to publicly carry a sword. Think about it. It's extremely easy to hurt and kill a lot of people very quickly with guns. Not necessarily with a sword, though. You walk into a coffee shop wanting to do some harm with a sword, you might get a couple good swings off. Heck, you might even hurt or kill somebody, maybe even a couple somebodies. And then all of a sudden, bam, everyone stands up with swords. You gotta really think about getting into an altercation with another person, knowing that they also know how to use a sword. In war, you're not allowed to drop bombs anymore. You gotta walk over there and fight those people one by one. Oh, but Jake, what about arrows? Nah, I'll hit him with my sword. Gives everybody a hobby, community, mixed job. All of a sudden, there's a huge need for bladesmiths and blacksmiths, jewelers, engravers. We would all get cool, personalized swords. I don't see any downsides. If you're new here, hi. If you're not new, hey, missed you. Hit that plus thing.
Name something that crosses your mind, but you don't say it out loud because if you did, people would think you're crazy.
So I'm an abolitionist. I don't believe in prison. However, like most people, I don't fuck with those who harm children or anyone, period. And there are those instances where they literally find the DNA of the rapist in the fucking baby. And for those cases, I don't think that they should just live a cushy life in prison and get fed all day and play cards. I think we should be using their bodies for medical testing instead of animals. Not only would we yield way better results because we are testing on the species that the treatments are going to be used on, but why shouldn't they? Why do we have to conduct studies that pay not even that much, that low-income people will sign up for because they need money? No, fuck that. We know who we should be testing these treatments on. There are plenty that we should be doing that to.
Name something that crosses your mind, but you don't say it out loud because if you did, people would think you're crazy. I'll go first. The reason I'm afraid of heights is not the height. It's because something in me is always like, jump, head first, jump. That sounds crazy. I knew I shouldn't. Name something that crosses your mind, but you don't say it out loud because if you did, people would think you're crazy.
Maybe it's not that weird, but like when I'm driving down the street, I get the urge to just, yeet myself off the road. So I don't know if anybody else do that. I mean, I never said it out loud, but yeah, just fight the urges.
Name something that crosses your mind, but you don't say it out loud because if you did, people would think you're crazy.
This happens to me quite a bit when I'm out in public because I can hear what people are thinking. And I've gotten asked a few times if I get messages for people if I tell them, like strangers in public. And normally I don't, just because it's fucking weird. Hey, yo, like, by the way, like I know you're stressed out about your money problems at home, but your guides are telling you not to worry. Anywho, I was at the gym and I came across this lady, and as soon as I saw her, I heard somebody that had passed away recently in her life pipe up. I was like, oh, fuck, not now. And we just happened to be going into the sauna together, so I struck up a casual conversation, and we actually had a really beautiful conversation on spirituality and growth and development. And then finally I broke it to her like, okay, well, here you go. Gave her the message. That woman did everything she could to just not break down in the middle of a fucking sauna. And eventually I told her that I can hear people's thoughts and I talk to those on the other side.
Name something that crosses your mind, but you don't say it out loud because if you did, people would think you're crazy.
After my kids are 18 and independent, doing well for themselves, I have a list of people to go visit that I have decided over the years are worth the jail time.
Name something that crosses your mind, but you don't say it out loud because if you did, people would think you're crazy.
I firmly believe that scientists have in fact discovered giant sea monsters, and that's why we're in such a rush to get to space. Scientists are just trying to put as much distance between them and whatever giant, awful sea creature they found at the bottom of the ocean as possible. Think about it. We have some of the smartest people in the world researching the ocean and space travel. And the people researching the ocean don't like to talk about everything they found down there, whereas the people researching space travel won't shut the fuck up about how fast they're trying to get there. Which leads me to believe that they fucking found something in the ocean and they're just trying to get away from it. Just don't get me wrong, I already don't like water I can't see into. And I'm perfectly content thinking that the bottom of the sea is just sand and some clownfish looking for his son, with some etch-a-sketch brain bluefin fish. They're besties. But I also firmly believe that they found something down there that scared them so much they're trying to go to a planet with no water. Because you can't have giant sea creatures without agua.
Name something that crosses your mind, but you don't say it out loud because if you did, people would think you're crazy.
I've always been like a people watcher. I like to observe people. It's my thing. But more and more lately, I've been noticing the opposite, people watching me. In a crowd, maybe on a train platform somewhere. Not just like a by-the-by quick checkout, no. Standing and watching. So much so, like, they've been here my whole life. And I'm just noticing them now. When I engage, most of them look away, but not abruptly, kind of. Some of them have like an excited, do you get it nod. And some, very few, 3 actually, out of the dozens and dozens I've seen, do as if they're trying to tell me something that I know but I don't know. As if they're trying to see if I'm confirming their existence and vice versa. As if I'm supposed to be doing something and everyone's just waiting for it. They're not figments of my imagination unless I share them with everyone else. So what then?
Name something that crosses your mind, but you don't say it out loud because if you did, people would think you're crazy.
Every celebrity has a teacher that at one point told them they would never amount to anything. Like all of them. All of them have that teacher. But there couldn't possibly be hundreds of thousands of teachers out there telling kids that they won't amount to anything. So that leaves us with 2 options. 1, they're all bullshitting because they're rich and famous, but they want sympathy anyway. Or 2, they all went to the same school. Celebrity school. That's where the teacher works. And she's never been fired because she's really good at her job. I'm not crazy. You're crazy.
Name something that crosses your mind, but you don't say it out loud because if you did, people would think you're crazy.
Oh God, here's my theory, right? That I'm afraid to say out loud. But coffee is disgusting. Coffee actually isn't good. People drink coffee not because it's wanted, it's because it's needed, right? There's 2 different types of coffee drinkers. There's the people who drink coffee and they just pump it with sugar and caffeine to where they can barely even taste the coffee, and they're just riding that gigantic rush of energy to attack the day with a smile, right? I feel like those are your Chick-fil-A workers or whatnot. But then there's the other coffee drinkers. The coffee drinkers that just take it straight up. No sugar, no nothing, because regular coffee represents life. It's bitter and it's here whether you like it or not, right? And those coffee drinkers, they don't drink coffee for their benefit. They drink it for your benefit, right? I will not interact with somebody who hasn't had their morning coffee yet. I'd rather bareback wrestle an alligator. That's safer. Do you get what I'm saying?
Name something that crosses your mind, but you don't say it out loud because if you did, people would think you're crazy.
We're in a simulation. Gotta be. Like, you ever look at somebody and be like, bro, why are you acting like that? Like, something just seems off. Or matter of fact, in your life, right? Things are going a little bit too well or a little bit too accordingly. Like, it could be, it's just too good to be true or too bad to be true. Yeah, gotta be in a simulation. Gotta be. Like, you can't sit here and tell me that deja vu is just deja vu. Like, you really trying to tell me that I've been through multiple experiences more than once in one lifespan to the point where it's like, I've been through this before. Hell no. Nah. Then we got this can't make your mind up ass weather. These viruses, these vaccines that go with the viruses, which just leads me to think that aliens are coming down here one day. Like, the moment we're at our weakest, ding dong. But ain't nobody trying to hear that shit though. Ain't nobody trying to hear it. Just know, when they come down here, I'm gonna have the biggest I told you so waiting on y'all. You all have a good day.
Name something that crosses your mind, but you don't say it out loud because if you did, people would think you're crazy.
That all of this is just a distraction. None of this actually matters. We are in the middle of space on a floating rock, a tiny floating rock, around billions and trillions of other tiny floating rocks. And it just so happened that life happened on our tiny floating rock. And then we reproduced, and then other species reproduced, and then we made other things. And now we all just live on this tiny floating rock, and we ask ourselves, do aliens exist? You are the alien. That's you. And then we stress about everything in our lives as if it matters, because this life only lasts 70 to 80 years. And we only get one of them. And we're sitting here worrying about shit that doesn't matter. For what? Stop letting the world distract.